access to resources, funding constraints, social norms, discriminatory practices, which hinders our full participation and economic empowerment. So today's topic, we are trying to delve into and explore how we can address these various challenges, create an environment where women have equal opportunity with our men, she for men in our midst today and in the world general, access resources, support to thrive in these various sectors. So our topic today also highlights the importance of gender-inclusive policies. We want gender-inclusive policies to be adopted in various countries across the world, programs and initiatives that promote women leadership, entrepreneurship, and economic independence. So I have amazing women, like I said, amazing panelists who are going to be bringing their wealth of experience, knowledge, and insights to the table, because I'm confident that even over the weeks that we've been having discussion, I've understood their perspective on how we can tackle, gender equality, advance women's empowerment. So we are going to be having thought-provoking conversations. If you have any question, we have Gloria, drop it on the chat and we'll be able to take it. So first we have amazing Rebecca that's going to, she's our first panelist who is going to talk to us what she understands by the topic that we are discussing today. And Rebecca, I would also appreciate that you tell us what you perceive, right, in the current state of, what is the current state of women's empowerment in food, agriculture, and the larger market economy. Rebecca.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that wonderful introduction, Adi. So my name is Rebecca, and I'm a Nigerian, grew up in Nigeria and spent some part of my years as well in South Africa. So I'm an impact-driven entrepreneur whose focus is leveraging market-driven solutions to address socioeconomic problems that are disproportionately affecting women and other people in underserved communities across the world, specifically looking at Africa. And one of the ways through which I've done that is through Mama's Creation Foods, which is a for-profit social enterprise that connects African women producers and farmers to profitable markets for their products. Essentially looking at nutrient-dense African superfoods, which are nutrient-dense food products that provides health benefits. So the aim is to connect these women to profitable markets so that they can create dignified livelihoods for themselves while also promoting consumer health. So I would say, this whole topic of women's empowerment is very dear to me, just owing to my upbringing, which has enabled me to, I would say, focus my attention on how we can unlock the potential of women to fully participate in economic activities so that they can actually uplift themselves, their families, and communities at large. So in terms of the state of women's empowerment in the space, I would say we've come a long way in that regard. It used to be the case that projects and initiatives that are founded in this space were either designed or led by people who had no personal connection or who could not fully empathize with the problems that women across the different sectors of the African agricultural food space or bigger economy we're actually facing. But I would say in the past 2 to 3 years, we've now seen a rise in support for initiatives that are actually homegrown, initiatives that are developed and led by African women that actually centers the issues that are actually faced by the women in this space. Despite this progress, I would say we still also have a long way to go in terms of the deployment of financial capital to these women-led organizations, enterprises in the space. Those financial capital are actually needed, one, in order to scale the initiatives led by these women, and also to actually encourage young women entrepreneurs to go into the African agricultural sector, go into the agribusiness space.
Thank you. We hear you. We hear what you're doing with your business and what you're expecting. So we go to Freda. Freda is also my friend, my friend in this work for women advancement. And Freda, what do you think are the specific challenges that women face in different industries, not actually only food, but across board, but we're using food as an example, and how can they be addressed?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Adanne, for that question. And hello, everyone. My name is Frida Muyambo, founder, director of Hulu Consulting, who we are your smart project management partner, and we look at solving problems such as these. Okay, so specific problems or barriers that women face. But here are some facts because I believe it's important to actually understand what the situation is. When you understand the situation, you can actually understand that there is a problem. Okay, so globally, women make up on average around 43% of the agricultural labor force in developing countries. In sub-Saharan Africa, this figure is almost 50%. Okay, despite this fact, women generally have less access to land than men. And this means that, where data is available, between 3 and 20% of all landowners are women. In some countries, it's 3%. Some, it can be up to 15 to 20%. But you can already see the disparity between the genders. Okay. And why does this matter? Why is it a problem? In order to farm, you need land. If you are farming on land that you don't own, you're at the mercy of anyone who can come in, take control, and do what they wish with that land. So yes, there is a massive problem. Another thing we need to look at is that despite the fact that almost 50% of the agricultural labor force in sub-Saharan Africa is women, we know that these women are not funded. So here's another fact for you. Entrepreneurship generally is the mainstay of Africa. And I think the statistics are up to 70% of the population is women and they're entrepreneurs. Despite this fact, we know that less than 7% of venture capitalist funds are made available to women. Now, imagine what proportion of that 7% goes towards women in food and agriculture. So yes, there is a problem. It is important to acknowledge this. And then again, you may say, so what? It's just money. Why is this such a problem? Well, this impacts women farmers because when compared to men, they will have lower yields. And it's not because they are less skilled, but it is because less funds means they operate on a smaller scale. It means they have fewer inputs like fertilizer, improved seeds, tools, technology. Money makes the world go round. And if there is no money, there really is no growth. And, to make it further, you can come and say, oh, let's come and put solar, put solar anywhere. If that farm is too small, they will not be able to afford to run the solar or pay for it back. It's not a sustainable solution if the size is not right. So yes, this really holds women back.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but
that's
oh, I'm sorry. I think there was a
yeah.
second part to your question in how do we overcome this? Was that
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yes. How do you think that you can overcome it? Yeah.
yeah.
In just 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are many answers to this, but I'll tackle just one, and everybody can do this. Women are generally not landowners. That is an equality. Fathers, give your daughters land. You don't need to wait for
Mhm,
the government. Give
mhm.
your daughters land. Uncles, give your nieces land. And I mean uncles by relation, please. Give your nieces land.
I hear that.
Empower women. You do not need to wait for
Yeah.
some policy. Empower women. It can be done, and only one person. The difference starts with us today. So I will leave it there.
So I hear you, and it's just alarming hearing 43%, of the global workforce are women, and I know that there's strength in numbers, I remember one of the programs that I attended, and I hear a woman from the northern part of Nigeria telling me that the cattle, the milk they produce, the people that produce are women, and they do not own those cattle, they do not own those land. And these are the policies that we are advocating today with this platform, so that people really will hear us, the policymakers will hear us, men, starting from our immediate families around us, need to hear us. So thank you, Freda. So Doreen, my beautiful Doreen, to just in answering further to the question that I posed to Frida, can you share some of the examples and initiatives or programs that you think have effectively empowered women in this food, agriculture, and the better economy sectors? And also, how can policies and advocacy efforts support the empowerment of women in this sector? Hi, Doreen.
Hi, thank you so much, Adi. I would start by saying, to build on what Fred has said, African women are overtrained by so many organizations, but they are underfunded. And I'll say, we have so many initiatives that are coming up to train women, because training is one of the things that women in Africa need. But you realize, there are very few organizations that are able to train women, fund them, and give them feasibility, so that if they are not able to fund them, they can be funded by other organizations. And to give an example of this, we are all aware of one project that is called the Reading Africa Women in Food and Agriculture, or in Food and Fellowship, a program that is able to train, not only train, but give women who are in food and agriculture feasibility. Because I believe once we get feasibility as women who are in agriculture, once we get the training, we also need money. One of our audience has said, if there is no money, there is no growth. So we need training and we need money at the same time. So you find we have very few initiatives in Africa that we can talk about that they are able to bring money on the table for women who are in agriculture. And so today we are here to urge all the people who are conducting fellowships, training, accelerator, to consider that we don't only need skills. We need skills, but we also need money. The other issue that I can talk about is that women also need market access, and we have seen it happening through the Leading Africa Women in Food Fellowship, whereby so many women has been given an opportunity to access market through each other. And I think this is a good example that can be copied by so many other organizations. On your second question, I'll say we need reforms, we need policies. Women need land. That is one of the big things that we need to keep talking, because we cannot be farmers. Right now I'm leading Ustawi, and the women that I'm leading here, they are farmers. And being farmers, they need to own land. So we need to work on our policies on land reform. We need to work on resources allocation, because if we are not able to give women access to resources, access to training, access to finances, and access to market, then we will not be able to advance our agenda when it comes to agriculture and food security. The other thing is that we need to strengthen our institution, because advocacy effort can work to strengthen institutions and governance structures whereby women are well represented and women are able to be called in decision-making table, not as spectators, but also as people who are able to make decisions and people who are able to help their community. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Doreen. I hear you. I could not emphasize, the need for money. So you see, there are a lot of accelerator programs up and down. This financial institution is holding one program. We want to empower women. You want to do this. At the end of the day, you just train them without money. There's no way you train me and you're not going to equip me with the necessary funding that I need to grow my business. It's not going to work. So I have all these trainings packed in my head, and there's no way I could offload it if I do not have money. Then when the money is made available, right? The the documents or the things that you are asked to get, right? You cannot even get that. It's so huge. You start comparing women MSMEs with the big SMEs, with the big conglomerates. So these are policies that need to change. So you're doing an accelerator program. You have to connect it, funding, and connect us with market. I often say that money without access to market, I'm not going to, when I produce, I'm not going to eat it myself. I need to be connected to the market to be able to sell what I am producing. So thank you, Doreen. So we'll go to Etim, what do you think are the strategies that can be implemented to ensure equitable access to resources, markets, and opportunities for women? Also, are there economic benefits of promoting gender equality and women empowerment? Hi, Etim.
Thank you very much. For everyone listening, it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all. My name is Etim Muk from Nigeria. The founder of Eti Farms Global, where we cultivate, process, and distribute edible mushrooms. Right, so to the question, I think directly to link from what you said, there should be policies directly on allowing women to access monies without going through the stringent path. So what do I mean? One of the very common ways to, or criteria to allow somebody who is either asking for a loan or some sort of funding, would be that maybe you should have a collateral. And one of the very common collaterals would be a property. Do you have a land? Do you have a landed property anywhere? And because in Africa, I think in a lot of places in Africa, women don't own lands, right? Except you work your way through having the means to buy one for yourself. Women don't own land. So imagine 5 people going to access funding where collateral is one of the where a landed property as collateral is one of the very important requirements for accessing such funds. Already that reduces the number of women to 0, if not maybe 1%, right? So such policies should really be looked into and reviewed just to allow women have access to funding. That's one. The next one is equal pay for both genders, right? You have this, I think this cuts across every walks of life, where you have a woman being paid less for the same work a man is doing and earning much more times 2 or times 3. So I feel there should be that, we should get to that place as a community where women are being offered the same amount of money or benefits, whatsoever resources, as her male counterparts in that same industry. Beyond this, of course, I think a lot more women should join associations, right? We can overemphasize the importance of associations, right? A lot of programs or things meant to help businesses goes to people in associations. And when women are not in associations, when women are running silo, when women are just being on their own, it really doesn't help. So I think more women should be encouraged to join associations. And all of this still boils down to having the necessary information, right? So if you don't have the necessary information, you would know, which association to join or how to go about this. So yeah, I think more women should be encouraged to join associations, and then, of course, also work in clusters, right? A lot of women are doing so much, but on an individual and very small scale, it would really be difficult for you to make an impact working, in small silos as against putting efforts together, right? It just makes it very easy. You may have, I think in Nigeria, over 60% of people in the food and agricultural space are women, but they work in silos in very small units. So it's just very difficult to have any attention. So for the men even working, the percentage may not be as much as the women, but because they have the necessary support, funding, and what have you to work in larger capacities, it's just very easy for them to continue to get the support, the funding, and all what they need to really push their brands forward. So yeah, I think these are some of the strategies that would help, right, to allow women have the necessary access to markets, access to funding easily, and then just better pay for what they do. Then the economic significance of this is really a lot, right? Because when more people have access to funding, women particularly have access to funding, it just means a lot of economic growth, right? Employment opportunities will be created a lot, and then it just trickles down to the family. The popular saying of, if you want to cater or train, care for a village, right? Get a woman involved. So a woman just is beyond work. A woman also considers the home front. A woman considers nutrition. Issues around having low quality foods and things like that would really reduce. And beyond that, I think organizations charts where women have a higher decision-making power actually do better. It has been proven, right? So when women are actually empowered, it brings forth a lot of economic growth. It brings forth employment, because with more women putting their all hands on deck to get things done, more employment opportunities would be created. So we just can't stress this.
Thank you. Thank you, team. So I go back to Frida, right? Frida, what do you think, right? What role do you think education and skill, right? I hear everybody say training, empowerment. So what role do you think education and skill training play in advancing women's empowerment in these sectors that we are discussing? Yeah.
Okay, so education and skills can help us to introduce the right solution to the right problem, because having things like the basics for farmers, as in, do you know how to test the soil that you're trying to grow something in? Is that soil suitable to grow capsicum, for example? Is it suitable to grow ginger? These things matter, and these things are actually scientific solutions that you need. How are you going to grow your crops? Are you going to do deep bed cropping, or are you going to grow on the surface? There are some very, very basic things people need to know, and they won't know until they're educated. And let me tell you something, it doesn't take a lot to be educated. We live in this digital age, and a lot of what I'm saying is actually touching on technology, all this, the science-based decision-making, picking the right tools, and then accessing information. It is all ties into technology. Technology really is Africa's friend. And, you don't need to go and spend a huge amount. One of the things that has been amazing throughout Africa is the proliferation
yes.
of mobile communications.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have a mobile device, okay, the world is your oyster. You can learn anything. Let me repeat that. For any woman out there who's into food or farming or any kind of business, you can learn anything. You can learn anything today. Okay. So it is very, very important that we are educated, we are skilled, because that's going to really help us to set ourselves apart and actually climb against some barriers to entry. So education really is very important. Okay. And you are empowered. You can learn anything, don't let money hold you back. Go and visit your life. You can do it. I want you to believe that you can do it and you can learn anything, So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I'm just it's don't let money hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. So fact you are willing to do it, you can do it actually. So it's that from the will. You have to be willing, and you have to be determined. Yeah, you can do it. So yeah, it makes sense.
And don't hold yourself back. Don't hold yourself.
Yeah, yourself, right? Because if you hold yourself back, someone else will hold you back. But if you tell yourself, I'm not going to allow myself to be held back, I won't be held back. I like that. So it's also about self. Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. So there was something I wanted to talk about, a concept called bounded rationality. It is an economics concept, and this is where this is where you make decisions based on not enough information, okay? So you have a lot of industries out there that should be ensuring equal access to information by, which enables people to make the best decisions, okay? Sometimes we find that this kind of information is reserved for the boys' club or the people who are in the know. We need to tackle this. And again, technology can help us do this, but where you have the right information, so it's not just education, access to information, where you have the right information, you will make the best possible decision as opposed to settling for good enough.
Not settling for good enough. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. So you alluded to the use of technology, and here I'm going to be asking Rebecca, right? How do you think technology and innovation can be leveraged to enhance women's participation and leadership in these various industries? Rebecca, please.
Yeah, thanks for the wonderful insights you shared further about the part of technology enhancing women's education and skills in this space. Further also mentioned the fact that about 50%, if not more, of Africa's agricultural labor force consists of women. And despite this, the painstaking work that these women do in the space, they face a lot of barriers that actually hinder their access to profitable markets. They're also contending with a lot of the financial difficulties that stems from food waste and loss. So I think there are just multiple ways, right, that technology and innovation can be applied to specifically address these two key problems, so that women are actually encouraged to participate in the profitable sectors, profitable areas of the African agriculture, food space, and also the maker economy. Two of this, I would say two of these applications are very exciting, and I would say impactful, just due to the I guess impact that I've witnessed over the years. So the first is definitely the application of technology in the reduction of post-harvest loss in form of we have cold storage facilities, even processing. So in terms of actually taking the food crops or newly harvested crops and dehydrating them, or trying to expand their lives, I guess shelf life. So in that way, women don't women were actually cultivating these crops, they don't lose a large proportion of their harvest to just loss. And that way they're then able to reap financial benefits that is commensurate with the hard work that they're putting on on the farm. The second aspect is definitely access to this technology. So a lot of startups are doing amazing work in this space, but how many women, in rural areas, how many smallholder women farmers are able to access this technology in terms of geography and in terms of affordability? So a lot of concerted effort needs to be made in this space in order to allow enable that women farmers in rural areas are actually able to access this technology. Then the other aspect is in terms of innovation, in terms of business model. So there's a lot that can be done by food companies, by cosmetics companies, and other companies in the consumer packaged food area, where they actually adopt innovative business models that, at minimum, ensure that women farmers, women owned agribusinesses are fairly represented and present in the supply chain. One of the things that Mama's Fruit and Fruits is doing is actually ensuring that we are solely sourcing from African women producers and farmers, but not all businesses can do that. So at the minimum, they can just ensure that they are adopting the sourcing practices that ensures that women farmers and agribusinesses are fairly represented in their supply chain. So essentially, technology and innovative business models can be employed to ensure that women have access to profitable markets, and they're actually not losing large proportion of their harvest to food loss.
Yeah, I hear you. So it just boils down to whether you're a farmer, right? other value chains in the agricultural space. You can employ technology, whichever field, wherever you find yourself, to help you stand out, to help you be seen. Because if you are not seen, you won't be heard, and nobody knows what you're doing. But I know that there are amazing women out there, both in the field and elsewhere, doing amazing, but because they are not leveraging technology at every value, at every step of their businesses, both farm, both operations, both communications, both everything, you need technology. For us at Addis, when I talk, I say, right, even till now, there are people that use sun drying, right, in drying some of their products. For us, we do spices. And when you sun dry, it takes away a larger number of the nutrients you're supposed to get in the product. But thanks to technology like the dehydrating machine, the freeze dry, the flash drive, different types of dehydration process, it keeps as high as 80%, 90% of the nutrients in food. So there are different value chains. You can use technology to enhance and make your work to be heard. So so the she for men is she for he for she that are here help our women scale, help our women to be seen. Then women that are here help help the other woman if the other woman doesn't know, right? Because there's strength in numbers. So I hear you. Please, if you have any question.
Sorry, I just want to quickly add, so like that access part, you're talking about the technology. So that access part in terms of like affordability and also in terms of training, it's very important because a lot of startups are like, coming into the space, and like the business model, the revenue model is just like, in a way, excluding women in rural areas from actually accessing those technologies. Even small African women producers that are more in the processing area of the value chain, they're not actually able to access this technology and services. So accessibility is very important. It's not just enough to have these technologies in place, but who are the people accessing them, and how is that enabling gender equity in the space?
Yeah. And to be able to have this accessibility, we need to be informed. So if you're not informed, you won't even know where you're going to access the information. So the phones that we have in our hands, right? Like Frida said, what are we using it for? You have phones. What are you using? Is it just for the social media do things? How are you using what you have? It's a powerful technology that you can use to access any information across the world, anytime, morning, night, evening, anytime, on the go, you're on transit, you can access any information. I hear people asking, Adane, how do you get this? How do you get that? Because I use my phone very well. And you know how the social media works, that's algorithm, right? Whatever you search for, you see that even when you're not looking for that, you see those things pop up, right? So if it depends on what you're searching with your phone, right? So if there are information, if you want information, the information that you want pops up to you. So thank you very much. So please, if you have any questions, drop it on the chat. Someone is going to pick it up so that I can ask any of the panelists that you want to ask anything based on what they have said. Please drop your questions. We are going to tackle them. So one of the last questions I want us to discuss is, I see that you all are doing different things in different countries, right? Different places, amazing. What are the steps, right? Like as an individual, as yourself or your organization are taking to foster a more inclusive and supportive environment for women? So in your organization, what are you doing as an individual? How are you helping, right, to foster a more inclusive and supportive environment for women? So I'm going to start with Doreen. So everyone is going to answer this question, but please, let's keep it to 1 minute. Thank you. So
Thank you, Adi. Thank you so much. So what we are doing to bring an inclusive environment for women who are in agriculture. Number one is making sure that we are not only training them, but we are giving them access to the tools and access to finances. And we do this by making sure that each and every day we are building a partnership with so many NGOs, partnership with so many companies, and also partnership with financial institutions to make sure that these financial institutions are able to train women in the rural areas where we work, because Ustawi Africa is an organization that works with the rural women, and for them to get these finances, they have to go through financial institutions. But you find like so many women whom we are working with, they don't have collateral, as we have said here, they don't have land, and many of them, they don't even own a bank account. So when we work with financial institutions, we go like to where they are in their farms, they open a bank account, we train them how to bank money, how to check on their balances, how to use their phones, as we have said here, it has been repeated so many times, and how to make sure that whatever they sell, even if they sell $1 a day, they are able to put it in their records, and they are able to become accountable to their farming, because farming is a business just like any other business. So to bring this inclusive, we have worked with several banks in Kenya. We are working with several NGOs in Kenya, and we are also working with several companies. But I just have said, women don't just need to be trained. They need to be given tools. They need to be given access to all agrarian services and all agrarian knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Etim, do you answer the same question? What are you doing in your own mushroom community to have an inclusivity in women? Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we have a program called Feed Your Household, and this is directed to women, right? Because you know that food is essential. Food, if you're trying to fight malnutrition, it starts and ends with food, right? So, and most of these women, they're just at home, right? They're caring for the children, and if there is really no resources, you just have to work with what is made available. So the Feed Your Household project is simply a project where the women are being trained on different areas of mushroom cultivation and processing, and then they would have an internship with us for a period of 3 months, after which they could be absorbed into the company to work and earn until they're able to start up their own farm. So what this does is it allows the women to earn a living and then also be able to get mushrooms, you know, incorporated into the diet of their family seamlessly. Right. And
Yeah,
like
Maureen
said, it really makes a lot of sense when at the end of the day, the women are able to, you know, replicate something like this for themselves and be able to make an independent lifestyle and sustainable livelihood for themselves. So this is our quarter, and we're open to collaborations, to partnerships to take this to the next level. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Frida, it's your turn. Yeah.
Okay, well, at Hulu Consulting, we've just launched our Making a Difference program because there are many, there's a concept called the leaking pipeline, where this is where a lot of skills are actually just lost, and a lot of educated women actually just lost. A team touched on it, that women are at home. A lot of these women who are at home looking after children are scientists. They have PhDs. Some of them are doctors. Some of them are highly educated, but their skills are being lost in the leaky pipeline. So a part of what we're doing is reaching out to organizations who have career returners programs, okay? Because it's very, very difficult to get back into the field, into the professional field. So we are reaching out to organizations so that they can put their money where their mouth is. And then we are also talking to institutions like financial institutions. Like whenever we go, we ask, do you have products that are specifically geared to women? Do you have she accounts? Do you have low interest rate accounts? So we are really trying to get people to put their money where their mouth is. And if they ask why, simply, we want to address the second sustainable development goal, which is to address world hunger by 2030. If women have equal access and empowerment to men, we can feed 150 million more people today.
Yeah. So Rebecca, I'm going to ask you this question so that we wrap up. So how do you think that partnerships between government, NGOs, businesses, and our communities, right, can contribute to advancing women's empowerment in this sector?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think like the role of partnership is very, I can't like, I guess, overstate it. There are like a lot of like buckets of initiatives, even like within the private sector, where there's a lot of replication and people like, starting out projects and, making a lot of mistakes because they're not connected with other people who have actually like, done similar things. So it's partnership is very important in terms of like breaking down that silo, whether it be a partnership between grassroots organizations and private sector, organizations, in order to like, break down the silos that is restricting that information flow, restricting like that, I guess, the flow of capital, that is then, I guess, stifling that the pace at which we are advancing women's economic empowerment. So it's very important for people within like an organization, grassroots organizations, to actually partner with each other, social enterprises to actually partner with each other in order to learn and like very much like work together to accelerate the pace at which we're advancing women's empowerment and participation in this space.
Oh, okay. So Doreen, in Kenya, what can you say with your government, with some of the NGOs, what kind of partnership are you looking to have? I know there are a lot of people here, both in Africa and outside in the world. What kind of partnerships are you looking at, to help advance women empowerment in the agri sector?
Thank you, Adi. And to start with, I can say women need to understand that they can't build their businesses in isolation. Number one, they need to join with government so that when government is working or coming up with different policies, they are considered, and they are involved in whatever policy is being made. And they are also able to challenge it through the given channels of challenging the regulatory frameworks that are not favoring them. So what we are doing and what we are encouraging so many groups of women to do today, especially women whom we are working with in agriculture, is to make sure that they understand law and how law works. Because if you ask women about how policies are made, how these frameworks are made, and especially women who are in agriculture, who so many times, when I talk about Kenya, to be precise, 85% of women who are in the rural areas are the women who are in agriculture. Most of them, they don't understand how laws and policies are made. So we are inviting the government itself, the policy maker, to come to the meeting and train these women, because they need to understand when the law is working against them and when it is working in favor of them. And we are also working with NGOs, because I understand for the last few years, so many NGOs have, since COVID, the time of COVID, so many NGOs, they have been having this expertise who have been going to the grassroots levels to educate women, and we are taking advantage of them because we need them to train our women about several things, not only about law, about child care, about health care, about the rights of women, and about the gender equality. So I always urge women, you can't build your business when you are isolated. Get to learn what is happening in your country. Start working with the expertise that has been there and they have been funded by different institutions and organizations. Get to understand what is happening within the agricultural sector. And that way you will be able to grow and flourish in this sector. With an understanding that most of this sector has been undermined for quite a very long time, because it seems like we are just talking about agriculture, and agriculture is not about technology. But right now we are talking about agri-tech, whereby we are bringing technology, we are bringing agriculture, and we are bringing all the knowledge to make sure that we are able to harness agriculture, become a smart thing or a smart farming. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you. It's been an amazing conversation that we've had. We do not, I have not seen any question on the chat. Just people echoing what we have been saying. Empower women, give them access, collaboration, listen to us, give us land, give us money, and it's just an interesting conversation that we have heard. As we come to the end of our discussion today on advancing women's empowerment in food, agriculture, and the larger maker economy, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you, amazing women, to my panelists, and to everyone that have joined us today. Just to remind you that this is a platform of the Catalyst 2030, that is a fast-growing global movement of people and organizations across the world committed to changing systems at all levels through collective action and bold new strategies. Throughout this our conversation today, we've shed light on the challenges that we've faced as women and other women in the various agricultural value chain. But most importantly, we've explored the solutions, promising initiatives that we are doing, the women and the panelists that have been doing individually and as organizations to drive positive change. It's become clear that empowering women in agriculture and in other sectors, right, it's not just a matter of social justice. No, it is essential for achieving sustainable development and creating a more equitable world for everyone, for you and me. Because if women are empowered, the whole nation is actually empowered. As we move forward, let us remain committed to breaking down every barrier. If you're a woman, every barrier, every door, every wall. Remember what Frida said. It starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with you. What I tell myself, that's what other people will tell me. So if I'm not convinced, if I'm not convinced that I need to make it, I won't make it, right? And in this journey, nobody said it's going to be a smooth ride. You're going to hit different roadblocks. I remember when I started my business, I didn't even have any money. I had about $63, right? That was what my brother loaned me, and I bought my first product. But I was at it. I kept at it. I was resilient. I was tenacious enough to have built this business over 8 years, from that $63 to over $30,000 annually turnover. So for us, we need to learn how to foster inclusive policies and provide opportunities individually in our own businesses for women to thrive, right? And lead in this because we are a very critical period, and in different sectors, especially in the agri value chain, right? I remember during COVID, almost of businesses were shut down, but agri businesses, they were one of the essential services that was still blooming. So together we can build a future where every woman has an opportunity to reach her full potential and contribute to a more prosperous, sustainable world. Thank you once again. I don't think I actually introduced myself. My name is Adane Uche, and I run and manage Adi's Agro Processing Limited. We are a food processing and packaging business that is based in Lagos, Nigeria, that provides families with healthy, nutritious cooking ingredients. So I'm delighted to have these amazing powerhouses as my panelists today, where we shared insights on how to build a stronger and lasting organization in Africa, in the world, for all women. Thank you very much, and it's indeed an amazing time with you. Thank you. So I give it up for our Catalyst 2030 team. Gloria, you can take it away.
Thank you, Adi. Thankful to the hosts for a very enlightening conversation. And if any of you who've attended the session today are interested in joining Catalyst 2030, please do so. Put the membership link in the chat. And if you also have physical products that you would like to sell through Catalyst
please feel free to peruse through the link I've put in the chat. There's an expression of interest form as well. Thank you. And we'll be sending the recording for this session in your post meeting notes. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. And bye-bye. Do have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much.